Hello and welcome to the Marvel Alliance podcast, where we cover anything and everything to do with the Marvel Universe. From the comics, TVA, and movies, we will go from Earth 616 to the Mojo Verse to the TVA in order to bring the Marvel Universe right to you. I'm the nerd with the mouth, David.
I'm the podcaster of Mischief Trust now.
Alliance
Assemble.
Assemble. Episode 274, and we've got the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Travis Snell with us here. How's it going?
It's good to be back. I don't know if we still have yet to do a 3-man one. This is our, obviously, we do, the gimmick, cheap plug for a wrestling show we do at Geekverse, but this is our first time doing Marvel Alliance with you as the full-time co-host. I think the last time I was on Marvel Alliance, I covered for you on vacation. So I still hope, my hope is once, there's so many shows right now, I'm eventually planning to get on when we have all three of us, because I'd like to do that. But yes, this is a history-making moment, so I'm happy to be back. I've always tried to get on once a month, not happen this summer and whatnot, because it's just been crazy time. Obviously the Twins were unpredicted, but good to be back on Marvel Alliance, and we got some fun stuff to talk about. I always like ranking stuff, so and it was good because I had a couple that I had to think about and put on paper, so I'm excited to be back. So thank you.
Yeah, I'm getting glad to have you back. It's been a crazy week for me, but yeah, looking forward to this ranking and a little bit of the news that we've had. I'm like, all right, I was scared that we weren't going to come up with something, and then the ranking idea came to me, and I was like, perfect. So I'm super glad that you were on board for it.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely.
All right, so before we get into all the fun of that, let's go ahead and get the network plugs out the way. We are part of the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network with 6 shows covering a wide range of geek and nerddom. To see the full schedule, check out the show notes below and subscribe to the Geek Ultimate Alliance on Twitter at GUA Pod Network so you know when all the shows drop. We also have a Patreon, so if you'd like to throw a few shekels our way, we've got 2 tiers. We've got our $1 tier, which is our tip jar as a way to say you think we're doing a good job, and then our $5 tier for ad-free episodes, early access, and Patreon exclusive shows. As a part of our Patreon, we've had We Can Watch This All Day, the Marvel Alliance MCU rewatch, including all 24 movies from the Infinity Saga, Tales from the House of X, rewatching the Fox movie lineup, and right now we are currently in and just finished up the Baxter broadcast, the Fantastic Four retro film review. So we did the 1994 unreleased Roger Corman Fantastic Four. We did the 2005 Fantastic Four with Chris Evans as Johnny Storm and its follow-up Fantastic Four Rise of the Silver Surfer. And we just dropped this past Monday Fantastic Four from 2015, aka Fan Four Stick. So you get to hear Chris's first ever viewing of this gem. It is a fun little thing that we've had. DC has its DC films of the year. Joel has his multiverse minutes. We're also in our 31 days of Halloween, so every day is a new movie leading up to the end of the month. So yeah, we have all of that for our patrons. So we like to thank our patrons. We can't do it without your support. If you want to join us on Patreon, go to www.patreon.com/GUA network. And if you can't join us and you want to rate, review on your podcast feeds, go to Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast from, drop us a rating. We really appreciate it. And last but not least, we would like to thank our official sponsor, formerly organicpricebooks.com. They have now switched over and they are panel bound comics. So hit them up for everything. As you can see, they have X-Men Epic Collection, Bishop, the Avengers, some Fantastic Four, Deadpool, and some other things. They are a great resource if you're looking to get into some omnibus collectibles. They sell graphic novels, omnibus collected editions at great discounts and everything in stock and pre-orders. You can earn rewards on every purchase that will earn you discounts you can use on your next order. They ship to the US and internationally in secure packaging to ensure your books arrive undamaged. Go to panelboundcomics.com and use the promo code MarvelGUA to get $2 off on every order, or MGUA SIT to get 5% off when you order 4 or more books together. Use our referral link list on the show notes below so that they know that you're a Marvel listener. And we will also have a link to the store in the show notes below.
There we go. That's a lot. There's always lots to talk about, lots of good comics there, But yeah, I'm excited to listen to, because I haven't got around to listening to it yet, the Fan Forest, because yeah, I knew it was Chris's first time watch that, so I'm curious to see. But yeah, no, it's good to hear all that. It's I am a little surprised after the 5 year. I did request Chris to put me in the thank you promotion notes all the time to always shout me out as the co-founder, but he did not. So I'll have to talk to him about that. A little disrespectful, but yeah, check out those. The other ones have been fun, but I'm excited for Fan Four Stick. That should be a good one. So
Fan Four Stick was definitely a fun one. It was interesting to rewatch it. It's been almost 10 years since the first time I watched it, and then it was interesting to get Chris's experience of watching it for the first time as someone who has actively avoided this movie. So yeah, join our Patreon, give it a listen. I promise you will not be disappointed. It is such a fun episode. All right, let's see. So before we get into our first main topic, let's go ahead and take our first ad break. Listeners, remember these ads help keep the lights on. We don't control what's played, so sometimes volume can be a little bit loud, but we'll give you a chance to adjust that right now. Be prepared. So 3, 2, 1. And we're back. So with the lowness of news, we had 2 small news stories, but I thought what would be fun is, as we just finished this great show that was Marvel Zombies, to take a look back at all the MCU Disney TV shows and specials that have been put out and kind of give our ranking of where we have them. There has been a lot put out by Disney. They'll even tell you they have put out a lot. So this is a good time to just go back and look at them and see what we're looking at.
You did say the word special, so have you counted the holiday special and Werewolf by Night in these?
I have counted Werewolf by Night, I've counted Guardians Christmas, and I've counted I Am Groot.
Okay. I can put those. I Am Groot's tough. I can put those in. Let's see. Okay.
No, they were pretty easy to slot.
Yeah.
Now, the only one that is an asterisk for me, and I even asked Brent about this when we were trying to decompress at work today. We had a question of, does this count? And I say by letter of the title, MCU Disney Plus TV shows, that X-Men 97 counts. He said it's a gray area. So
yeah.
if you don't have it, that's completely fine. If you do, that's completely fine. Because
I can add it.
It's not technically slotted in a phase, but it is a Marvel Disney Plus release. So it's weird like that. They count Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man as part of a phase, but they don't count X-Men 97.
Yeah, I guess that is true. So okay, I have it somewhere. That one's actually the other ones were easier. That one's tougher because where I would slot that. So yeah. So the only thing I'll say for my list, I do not have Eyes of Wakanda because I've still not seen it yet. I'll see it next year when me and the Geekverse guys every year we do a Golden Geeks for the MCU stuff. So I have to, but came out a time where I was busy, so I've seen every other Disney MCU related thing. There's only 2 comic book things I've never seen in my life, I think. I'd say probably since Superman, like Christopher Reeve Superman on, it's now Eyes of Wakanda, which I'll get to, and Craven. I've still yet to see Craven, so I am there's still a few things, but Eyes of Wakanda, that has a TBD for me, so that is not on my list. So I got a list of 17 things. That would mean you should have a list of 18 things, right?
Let's see. 1, 2, 3.
I want to make sure I got everything now.
I have 20.
What am I missing? Do you have them by seasons though? Do you have
Okay, nope. No. So I just have my overall. Here was my favorite. Here was everybody's least favorite.
Okay.
I think we all know what's last.
I think we all know it's last. So I'm missing 2. So okay, we'll find out as we go along because I will look at Wikipedia. I didn't have the specials, I wasn't sure, but I've added the specials in, and So and I added 97 in. So okay, we'll find out as we go along what I'm missing here. I don't know what it is, but okay.
All right. So do we want to go best to least or least to best?
Yeah, I think we end on a good note. Let's go least to best, and maybe because there's 20, maybe you should do your bottom five, and then I do my bottom five instead of one by one. Maybe you do 20 to 16, and then I'll do my seven. I'll go to 16. I'll stop. Like I said, I'll wait. But yeah, maybe let's go five by five because then we're not on each one for too long. So
All right. So I think we can all agree. Bottom of my list is Secret Invasion.
yeah, like I'm not gonna spoil. Like I'm spoiling my list. That's the same for me too. I would like to, as people know, everything is subjective. It's just a thing about. I would love to hear someone, other than like a personal reason, debate why Secret Invasion is not last. 'Cause I think there's some other Disney Plus things that are lesser than, but. There's nothing that to me is like a for sure bottom. I feel like we all agree. So if you have that, let us know out there. And I'd like an actual pitch of why it's not last. But continue.
Yeah. When it comes to Secret Invasion, there's nothing about it has any form of rewatchability. On almost everything other than my bottom two, there's at least one thing that I can go back and I would either want to rewatch or I would enjoy rewatching. When it comes to Secret Invasion, I'm like, okay, I did it for the story. That's that.
Yeah, start off with lots of good potential. And it did that thing where also we have to see they've still never revealed when Rhodey was a Skrull. But I think we started to get to that stuff where it's like, oh no, you're hurting past MCU phases and stuff. So yeah, minor spoiler, same thing. Secret Invasion at the bottom for me. That was
Yeah.
that my one and last place were easy up until a couple moments ago. But Secret Invasion with a bullet. So
Yeah. So speaking of lack of rewatchability, next to last, I have I Am Groot. Nothing against the show. It just for me, I watched it and I was like, cool. That was awesome. I never have to do this again. Not that it was bad. It's just I don't think it's geared towards me
yeah.
and there's nothing about it that just makes me want to go back and be like, yeah, let me rewatch that today. I feel like rewatching I Am Groot.
You and me are in sync right now. I got I Am Group there. I'm not trying to jump ahead, but so far we're in sync. So I'll reiterate my list when it gets to me. But yeah, okay. So what's your next one? What's
Next up is Guardians Christmas.
okay.
It was fun. I might revisit it at Christmas. Outside of Kevin Bacon, again, it was there. It was fun. It gave you a little bit of a feel of the Guardians, but it wasn't anything that was too memorable. Outside of the Kevin Bacon stuff, there was nothing about it like, yeah, this was exactly what I need in my life right now. It's fun and it gets you through the holidays, but that's it. Next up is Werewolf by Midnight. Again, it was a good watch. I have rewatched scenes from it, but I've never had the feeling of I just want to watch this again.
Okay.
And my fifth from the bottom, this one may ruffle some people's feathers, and it's not for the reasons you think. But last of my bottom five is She-Hulk. Again,
Oh my god.
I've had scenes that I've rewatched. The scene that everyone hates is a scene that I love. Like I love this scene with Megan the Stallion. Like that's just fun to me. Those are the parts of it that are fun. The Daredevil cameo is fun. Even in our chat, I keep referencing Kevin, the Kevin. Like so, those parts of it I liked, but just as a whole, I don't feel like I would sit down and rewatch the entire series. I would just probably cherry pick scenes from that. I want to see She-Hulk return as a character. I want to see her go on. I wouldn't be mad if she got another season. But I'm not sitting here going, I need more of this character.
Jeez, first Trask and David episode might be the last Trask and David episode. She-Hulk, bottom five. My goodness. Yeah, so right now, I just have the two, because like I said, I only have 17 and 16, and I have Secret Invasion, which we talk about, and then I Am Groot. Like he said, I don't know what I'm missing here, so maybe we'll find out. But I don't think anything I'm missing would be above these or below these, but I think, like you said, I Am Groot, that just, it's for a different audience. It's for kid audience. But that's the same thing as far as that's how bad Secret Invasion is. And I'll say that other than Secret Invasion, unless I'm really forgetting something, there's nothing on this list for me that is a fail. Secret Invasion is a fail. The rest are all at least a 6 out of 10 or higher as we go along. Obviously, the scores would raise among the top 10, top 5, stuff like that. But as far as the bottom, that's the only one that's failing. The rest, I'm enjoyable. There's other ones on here. So yeah. So now I'll throw back to you because now I'm going on. Or wait, I did 16. So I'll throw back to you and then see where we line up here and see if I fix it after. So now we're doing 15 to 10 now, right? Yeah.
Yep. Okay, so next up would be Echo for me.
Oh, I'm missing that. You know what? Actually, there you go. To go back to my thing, that would be okay. So I'm missing Echo. That would be so I'd have Secret Invasion, I'm Groot, Echo, and I can't remember. I have to go back. I think on Geekverse I did. So I might have lied. I think I did fail that one as well. I thought it was just very uneven. The Fisk stuff was good, but yeah. So I think that's another one that I had some issues with, and I just felt they didn't do the greatest with multiple kind of character development. So okay, you got me on that one. There we go. So anyways, you continue on Echo.
Yeah, so same thoughts. Like the Fist stuff was great. Absolutely love Vincent D'Onofrio. Love the scene with Daredevil in there. But outside of that, there was nothing that just was like, oh man, this was great. This was groundbreaking or anything like that. Like the character, like what they did with the character. I even like the changes that they made from the comics to the film to make it more adaptable and make it something that they could put on there, and also bringing in the Native American heritage and things like that. Like all of those were great additions. It's not jumping out to me as something that I absolutely need.
Yeah, that's fair.
All right. Next up after that is Marvel Zombies. So again, good show, great show. Even I'm just in the grand scheme of things, it falls low. I will say, as I'm looking at my list, there are two things on here that are probably higher than they should be because they have multiple seasons, and I grouped that all as one. So that kind of helped project it higher than maybe most. But for me, Marvel Zombies, again, it was a fun show. I like some of the things that they did. But with it being a little bit more Elseworlds and with it just being moments outside of the greatness that is Aman Vellani and the where do we go from here ending, are they going to transfer this over or not? It was moments, but it wasn't anything that just made me go, I need more of this in my life. Mm-hmm. So next up after that is Ironheart, which again, another more recent one. I liked it. It was fun. It had its moments. I am happy that Riri Williams' character got her show. And I want to see where they're going with this. We finally got Mephisto confirmed. So that is the greatest talking point for anyone who talks about the show now. It's more of, well, we got Mephisto. And Riri's show finally came out after sitting on the shelf for so long. So outside of those two things, there was really nothing that was just, this is amazing. Fun character, but I spent the entire time just waiting for, okay, that I saw magic in the trailer. Are we getting Mephisto? Are we getting this? Are we getting that? It felt like more of a, I'm waiting to see where the end point is than I am just truly enjoying the show.
Yeah.
All right. After that is Eyes of Wakanda. Again, fun, but it was short. 4 episodes. It looked great. The stories were fun, but it was just nothing that wows me enough to be like, man, I need more of this. Okay. And then after that is Miss Marvel. And I love Aman Vellani. I've gone back. I've watched clips. I loved the moment with the X-Men song in the back where they reveal about her blood. But outside of that, like, I like the character. I want to see more of the character. Just compare to other shows, it just wasn't yelling at me to, this needs to be something more that you rewatch. Again, more Aman Vellani, just cool, this is where this one now sits. So it's about just a little bit under the halfway point of the MCU shows.
Okay. Yeah, the 15 mark now, or sorry, the 10 mark now.
Yep.
Okay, so for myself, so yeah, obviously I slot Echo in that 17 slot, so I'll keep slotting. So now there's one, I'm missing one more. We're gonna find out what it is. I don't know, but so starting off, so my 15, you talked about Ironheart. Enjoyed. I enjoyed the show. It just felt like it was missing a lot of pieces. I agree with you about the ending. Just feels kind of abrupt, and it's tough when a lot of these MCU projects in the past really continued or felt like they were going to continue on. So I feel like a lot of them they did whether it's cliffhangers or leaving things open because like, well, we'll pick up on this. But as we've all talked about in I'd say a little bit of Phase 4, but then specifically Phase 5, lots of end credits or storylines that we may never see resolve. Like we ever seen Hercules again, we ever seen Star Fox again, and same thing with Riri Williams. It's like it's not I won't spoil the full thing, but it's like, am I ever going to get a resolution of this? I'd say a big character arc they do with her. I really don't know. I don't know if they are. So the show to me was fine. I think it gets the show reminds me of Iron Man 2 type of quality where it's still enjoyable. The same thing where Robert Downey Jr. is great as Tony. She's great as Riri. So she's enjoyable to watch. So I think they did a great job with casting because I think the show is kind of thin that if the casting was not good, the show would probably be much lower for me. But I like the dynamic with their friend, and I don't think they went enough on the magic versus science aspect. The Hood just kind of was a run-of-the-mill type of villain, I actually really liked Sacha Baron Cohen as Mephisto, and I wish there was a way. Same thing, though. I don't know if we're ever seeing that man again. I really enjoy that performance, but it was such a small amount of him in there. So yeah, 15 I got Ironheart, and then right after, we're in kind of similar veins here with some of our rankings. These next three, I got Miss Marvel. Might be a hot take because I know there's tons of people that think Miss Marvel is their top show or top 3 show or top 5 show. It didn't connect with me the way that it did other people, and I'm not just saying that as like a straight white male. There's many like projects, like I always say, like Black Panther. I think it's the best MCU movie ever made. I loved all the culture stuff in Miss Marvel. It wasn't like that, like, oh, I couldn't connect that. Just one villain's man was was not great. I feel like the show I think it had the identity for Kamala, but the show itself didn't have an identity. It felt like, do we want to be a big adventure Marvel superhero show, which was the back half, or do we want to be like a young adult, kind of comedy, dramedy sort of thing? And I think they never found the balance, and I think they would have been better not to do travel back in time and big fights at the school. I think that's where the show got weaker. But Amon Villani is one of the best combo castings we've ever gotten. So again, as long as you can cast right, I can watch these things. For the most part, Samuel Jackson's great as Nick Fury, but I can never go back and watch Secret Invasion. So there are lines to what I will feel about that. So and then you just mentioned Marvel Zombies. I enjoyed it. I think I was a little more let down than other people because I wanted them to go a tad harder, especially with them saying it was rated MA, but I had a fun time. It was great seeing the remnants of what the old Avengers Kang Dynasty movie would have been, because that's what I do love. We talked about this in the Geek First review, that I love that it feels like a pocket of time that we're never going to get back. It feels like these were the characters we were going to see interacting in the Avengers and Secret Wars, and now not so much, because now it's like, well, the F4's here, and now we're bringing back Alan Cummings and Rebecca Romaine, which is like, I do like, but I've always said I wish we did get a big crossover movie with all the Phase 4 and 5 heroes, and we didn't really. I know some of them are going to be in Doomsday, but it feels more so that they brought a lot of those old players back. It's like, we don't trust this to get the job done, so we're going to bring back Downey, and we all know Evans is back, we know Peter's going to be in there. So, but Marvel Zombies was fun for what it was. I don't know how much I will rewatch it. I could in the past, but and then number 12 here for me, a big disappointment for myself. Me and Chris probably aren't in agreement on this. It would be much higher for him, but Moon Knight for me. Moon Knight's one of my favorite Marvel characters, and this is a case of not necessarily it being bad. I don't know if there's any bad episodes per se. I think it just was disappointing and a lot to be left desired. I think this is one of those two that would have maybe fared better as either a movie or a much longer series. I think this is a show that really suffered from that 6-episode event. not all of them can be that. I think some work more well than others. I think a lot of the MCU shows suffered from the back half being really rushed, and same thing for universe stuff. I don't know when we'll ever see Moon Knight again, but it's been a minute. I've watched it only twice, but Moon Knight is one of my favorites. This was still when I was a full time host of Marvel Alliance. I remember the whole, it was a running gang, me and Chris being like, when are they going to cast Moon Knight? And this project should have been for me because for years, you can go back on my Twitter, for years I said Oscar Isaac is the guy, and they got him. So it was primed to everything for me to like, and it just missed the mark. It also felt like they were trying to do too much Moon Knight at once. Well, let's do the crime fighter, and then let's do the insane asylum. Let's do Mr. Knight, but then let's get really spectacular with a crocodile fighting like a Godzilla-like crocodile. I think what the episodes were for episodes 1 to 2, I wish it stayed kind of what Moon Knight was in the 90s, where he was a ground level hero, street level, but was messed up. I think we got too big too fast with Moon Knight, and I would like another crack at it, but I don't know if that's going to happen. And then number 11 here to end it off, probably just because I have some other things rated a bit higher than you, maybe I'd say. But this is nothing against the series because I really like it. Hawkeye, I got Hawkeye down here. I think this started really good. I could argue Hawkeye maybe has the best pilot of the MCU when it sets up Cade. Seeing Clint being really the only surviving Avenger we get to follow for a while, because like what, Tony's dead, Cap's gone, Widow's dead, Hemsworth we pick up later, but Thor Love and Thunder, he's like having a good, like he's like, it's zany, right? So it doesn't have that same weight. And then with Hulk, we haven't got much with him in the multiverse saga. So for me, it was like great to see, one, obviously them introducing Matt Fractions and like him being deaf, but it was just seeing him visit the monument or seeing him see like the Thanos was right sticker. It felt like we actually got to see some fallout from those movies that we didn't in other projects, which I would have liked of. And yeah, Haley Steinfeld's amazing. Kate Bishop, we had great cameos here. I think this was another show that suffered from the length. I really did not like what they did with Fisk. I'm glad that we got Fisk, but I think those writers did not know how to handle Wilson Fisk. I know people say, "Oh, that outfit's from the comic books." Doesn't matter. This guy, he went from looking one of the scariest Marvel villains on screen to just kind of a chump, you know. And it was a fun time, and that's still a really enjoyable series. And I like their dynamic, and that I think is actually a fine end for Clint Barton if they never bring him back. But I think it's another case of just the back half got a little messy, a lot of threads left, you know, around, and a reoccurring theme with these shows that, you know, we've only seen Haley Steinfeld one other time in a post credit, which is kind of crazy, you know.
Yeah.
So, but a good, like, that to me is like a 7.5 show at 10, really enjoyable. But that's my my 5 to 11 there. So what is your
Yeah.
10 to 6? Or go ahead.
So to your point about Miss Marvel, before I get into my 10 to 6, there were times I felt like it was balancing between a CW show and a Marvel property. And I think that's
100%.
where
Yes.
it was kind of losing itself. It kind of had some Smallville, you know, freak of the week type deals versus we're going big budget. We're reminding you we're in the Marvel universe. So I think if what their lane was and went with that, it
Yeah,
would have
which
been
is
a lot better.
which is a good comparison, because for me, even with the CW stuff, I was very, I won't say I won't say 50-50. I feel like 30-70 for the stuff I really enjoyed. You know, the first few seasons of Arrow, the first few seasons of Flash, some of Legends Tomorrow, but then there's a lot of other stuff I just didn't watch. Like I remember watching, I think, I don't know, 3 to 4 episodes of Batwoman and being like, yeah, I'm out for this, you know. And I think that's it was CW had that type of, or with Miss Marvel had that feel, which is not necessarily a bad thing because people do enjoy those, but they didn't stick with that. That was the thing where it's kind of all over. So yeah, CW is a good comparison because it's a certain tone that you either enjoy and don't enjoy. And I guess I would say the overall of CW stuff I didn't end up loving. You know, there's particular seasons, but not it as a whole. So which obviously tons of shows. So that's an unfair comparison. But.
Yeah, but yeah, it seemed like it struggled to find its footing with that teenage drama aspect, but overall great show.
Yeah.
So getting into number 10, and this may ruffle some feathers, but I'm gonna say Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man is sitting at number 10 for me.
Okay, that's the other one I didn't have. I didn't know if that was in the phases there. So
It
that's
is that is the one that is actually surprisingly listed in the phases.
okay.
Because that's what made me question a later pick on here was I'm like, well, this is listed, but this isn't. Like, how does this count and work towards
Okay.
it?
I can
But
add that in for I know where that goes. Perfect. Okay,
yeah,
continue.
that one is again, it was fun. It was great. I'm looking forward to more seasons. I have more fond memories and more thoughts about some of the other ones that I'm just like, if I were to have to sit back and rewatch some things, it's lower on the totem pole. Maybe
Yeah.
once it finishes out its seasons, it will bump up that ranking. Cause like I said, there's two things that sit above it that are multiple seasons and that help them with their ranking. So
Mhm.
that may adjust it. But right now, I was like, all right, great show, great animation. I love some of the choices that they made. I love the comic book style when it switches to the panels to go between scenes. Like that's amazing, but it sits right at the middle for me.
Yeah, for me, what you can do with my entire, let's just bump it down by one, and I would have put this in the 11th slot then. So I'm not too far. I'm actually, I guess, one lower than you, but I'm around the same vicinity. I think for me, that was a show that the reverse of something he's talking about. I think the back of half of the show was much better. We got like that episode with Scorpion where maybe the scariest I've ever seen Scorpion be in a Spider-Man anything, comic books, anything. To see, we eventually got to see the relationship of Norman and Peter fleshed out, which is always a good dynamic, but I think they did some different things here and how they revealed to Harry and oh gosh, I'm forgetting the girl from Runaways. What's her name? With the
They
powers.
they definitely subverted expectations when it came to that, especially the whole Norman Osborn thing. I was just like, oh, I'm expecting it to go one way, and it went a completely different way.
Yeah.
And I was like, all right, so that this is where we're going. Pearl was a great character.
Who am I
Everything they
missing
did
from the
with
character that was the character from Runaway? She does the magic.
Nico.
Nico, yeah, that was a great dynamic there too. And even then, we got that Daredevil episode in the back half where I feel like the beginning was either to me, I because I remember the first reps as they dropped in a batch. I feel like there's some stuff that was poorly written, and then a lot of stuff that was very rinse and repeat of we're hitting on very similar beats as far as everything else Spider-Man. But that's where I think with season 2 this show could climb for me because I think they set themselves up really well to get. I'm not saying it needs to be dark. I'm not saying it has to be like Punisher levels, but I think with season 2 and the dynamics they could go introducing Tony, introducing Doc Ock. There's lots of stuff there that I think has potential. But yeah, I'm with you. You got it 10, I got 11, so we're kind of in the same ballpark there.
Yeah. So like I said, it sits right in that middle ground for me. It's fun, and I'm hoping that as further seasons release, then it will bump itself up the list.
Yeah.
Coming in at number 9 for me is Hawkeye. I felt like this is the best use of a grounded character that Marvel could have done. Like this is one where I'm just like, there are moments in there that just felt like you could just relate to Clint Barton, his frustrations, his either from the standpoint of I thought I was done with this, or the looking around, like you said, seeing that Thanos was right, stickers, everything about that. You can relate more with Hawkeye and with the grounded vision that is coming from this episode. And yeah, I will agree that as great as it was, once again, see Vincent D'Onofrio, seeing him dressed up like a retired granddad in Florida was just not his best look.
Yeah.
So, and then at number 8, I have What If, the entire show of What If. It had some great moments. It had some defining moments. It had some episodes that I still rewatch and I love. And I'm like, I'm glad that I got to experience those things from that perspective. Like their first take on the zombies, I thought was amazing. Some other things that they did, I was just like, oh, okay, I'm really loving this. I'm loving the thread of the Watcher throughout. I love, having Captain Carter return and all these other moments. I was like, this is fun, and this is exactly what this show should be, giving you all of these one-offs that you wouldn't expect. Now, yes, the episode with the Eternals was once again, Marvel doesn't know what to do with the Eternals, but outside of that, there was a lot of fun moments and a lot of I'm glad they gave us that fan service.
Yeah.
All right, number 7 is Agatha All Along. Absolutely love Catherine Hahn. Loved all the music in it. Loved some of the moments that they had in there. It was fun. It was fun watching to see who the teen turned into and what his story was. And that was like our first real, we're waiting every episode to see is Mephisto going to be confirmed. And then seeing Agatha's backstory, like that made you connect with a character that up until then you've just been like, man, this is a pretentious asshole. Like, get she's the main character, but she's really hard to root for. And then you get the backstory, and you're like, oh, that could be that. The explanations with the Coven, I just thought it was a very well done show, and Catherine Hahn was just amazing within it.
Yeah.
And then number 6 is Moon Knight. Moon Knight for me was fun. I felt like this one could have been an episode or two longer and it just expanded more. But man, some of the things that they did with Khonshu and the world beyond, and having the moment where like the sky is moving and the transformations between all those, I felt like those were incredible. Yeah, they did start to get a little bit convoluted with some of the stuff with him switching between the personalities. It was hard to keep up at times, but the episode where they show like how his mental break happened in that moment where you
Yeah.
see him break, I was like, oh, this is some incredible acting right here. Like Oscar Isaac, like you're going for it, my guy. You are just absolutely going for it.
We got Oscar Isaac cast as Moon Knight. He's just sitting on the bench right now, doing nothing. He doesn't have a chair. How does Oscar Isaac not have a chair to be in Doomsday? How is he not in Secret Wars? I don't.
You got so many
understand.
different versions to choose from. Just stick a version of Moon Knight in there. So, yeah. So that's my 10 through 6 right there.
10 through 6. Okay, so what I got for number 10 is the holiday special. Obviously much higher than you there. I think I for years was always hoping that Star Wars would go to Earth and they'd pay off the Kevin Bacon thing. So when we got the holiday special and they said that was the main plot, I was very happy camper because like this, I've been pitching this for years, so that's great. And surprisingly, like it's a fun time. I like having Drax and Mantis kind of like your main characters there. There's some great kind of updates, but surprisingly as well too, I love that those songs. There's the I don't know what Christmas is, which is like the opening, and then God, I can't remember what the song that I think it is Here It Is Christmas Time, but the Kevin Bacon song that he sings at the end of Christmas, that's like a non-ironic, legitimately like I listen to that constantly during I'll probably listen to it tonight and I'm not talking to it. And it's a song that like makes me almost tear up. Like there's something about it that is just so nice and kosher. So and I'm a sucker for Christmas stuff. So that delivered for me there, the holiday special. Number 9, this one probably more than anything on the list should have been a movie, Falcon and Winter Soldier. When I had only watched, well, actually I've watched this 3 times, and I watched it twice when it first came out, and then recently just this year for getting ready for Brave New World. And I think I still have the exact same thoughts where there's lots of great strengths here. Like John Walker is such a great, interesting, dynamic character, but also the same thing where his character gets like a little shortchanged at the end of it. But I think all the Sam and Bucky stuff is fantastic. And stuff with the sister, the stuff with the cookout, the family dynamics, him going to the bank trying to get a loan, like all it's kind of similar to the Hawkeye stuff, right? Like all those dynamics. I think and Zemo's great in here as well too. All the dynamics that are just the characters interwoven in their relationships absolutely work. There's stuff like Sharon or the Flag Smashers. That's when it starts to get, especially on a rewatch, a little mucky. Where also we knew the Flag Smashers got their storyline all changed up because it was originally had to do with some sort of virus or something, and they changed it. So it's like you can feel it edited, and the Sharon stuff just. One, obviously, we're never following up on it, but 2, just even that show, just the reveal and everything, just doesn't feel as natural. You know, I think they try, but it just it's a weird addendum to have in this, and that's one where definitely now, in retrospect, I wish it was a movie for budgetary reasons. I wish we also had a full movie of that Captain America suit because they ditched it for the Brave New World, which I was always bummed about because Sam's Captain America suit with the white and the blue, one of my favorite. I don't know if it's top 10. I'll say it's top 10 Marvel to be safe, but top 10 Marvel suits. That suit is gorgeous, and I love it. I love the politics in there. All the Isaiah Bradley stuff is fantastic. So that's what I mean. I think it's all the drama and character stuff. That's almost all like 10 out of 10 stuff. It's the more action, big budget, like MCU third act stuff that just goes not really my cup of tea as far as how it was done in that show, but still a really good show. Falcon Winter Soldier. Number 8, I got Daredevil Born Again, because this was for me. I loved a lot of parts of that season. I would say, I've said this all the time, that it's either to me Daredevil or Watchmen as far as the best live action, comic book shows of all time. But this season we had heard all those reports of, oh yeah, it has multiple writers and multiple episodes and the reshot stuff. And it definitely feels like that at times. Like, just even stuff like the Muse character really goes nowhere. There's this big build up and it's handled relatively very fast. I love seeing Punisher, but he also comes out of nowhere to the point where the show is going one way and it just stops and detours. The tough thing is, I like the detour. It's just that it doesn't feel natural as a complete whole. But I'd say particularly the pilot and then the last 3 episodes, there's some great Daredevil stuff. So almost like Friendly Neighborhood, that I'm excited to see Born Again with that team from start to finish, because I feel like that does feel like the tale of 2 seasons. It feels like people's hands are all over in a different sort of way, and there's just certain character stuff. I always say, like, I'll stand by it. I hate that. I think that's what it was. I think Matt Murdock just gives up that it's like White Tiger's identity for his case. And I always, like, there's things in those episodes that the Matt Murdock I knew in the Netflix series was not the same guy. And not to the extent people go, oh, people change. It did not feel like a natural switch. Number 7, I got Agatha All Along. I didn't have much anticipation for the show. I thought it started a little slow, but as it went on, it got really good. I very much appreciated that Agatha stayed a bad guy. They reveal, like, one of the big reveals is she was going to kill a bunch of people, all of our main characters. It's not like they didn't go out of their way to, like, there's I could say a good person, but there's a layered character in there, and that's what I like. It wasn't just
they added nuance, but she's still a bad guy.
Exactly, right? Where so many series, that doesn't happen, right? And I think that's the best part. And I think the twist with Teen and the way they did the episodes was so good. And I think that whole episode, I think it's the penultimate episode, but showing their origins and her kid and the flashbacks, everything is really, really good stuff. So I almost should have it higher than this, but I will say I got What If finally here at episode 6 or number 6. The only reason I have it this high is purely for the Doctor Strange episode. Now, don't get me wrong, there's lots of other
great episode.
Yeah, there's lots of other great episodes in What If, and then there's a lot of other like Darcy and Howard Duck. Like, okay, I think that third season of What If was really, they just really threw the baby out the bathwater. I felt like, I won't say they gave up, but it just felt like they were not going for anything too interesting and more just for like, oh, we're having a wacky good time. But that Doctor Strange, that episode, and it's only, I don't know, 23, 24 minutes. I could make a case that that's the best stuff in the MCU, period. It is a heartbreaking, devastating, horrendous in the sense of what the character does episode. And so there's lots of other good stuff, but that Doctor Strange episode to me is one of my favorite just Marvel things, period, they've ever done. And Strange Supreme, a very fun, interesting character that I wish they brought over into live action. I remember when we saw those teasers for Doctor Strange and we thought that evil Doctor Strange was him, and then they're like, no, it's not him, it's just another Strange. But that character, and especially becomes a bigger villain in season 2, is a very interesting one. But the Doctor Strange episode, that is that's what gets it that high for me. So that's my 10 to 6 there.
Yeah, I think season 1 of that really elevates it to a point where even though season 3, I felt like some of the stuff that they put out there just wasn't it. But man, the stuff from season 1, Strange Supreme, Peggy Carter, like a lot of those choices out there was amazing. Season
Hank
2,
Pym killing all the Avengers in episode season 1, remember?
We had, the introduction of Kahori and things like that. Like, that was great. Captain Carter fighting the Hydro Stomper, that was great. But yeah, season 3, things got a little bit weird, because that's where we have the Agatha and Hollywood one with the Eternals. That's where we have the Howard the Duck and things like that. So yeah, no, I definitely get that one. So yeah, I that's a great list right there. So number 5 for me is Daredevil. That's where I have that one sitting. And it's something that I feel like it can move up as more seasons release. But it was great seeing Charlie Cox. It was great seeing John Bernthal. But yeah, there were some moments that were a little bit like, what are we doing here? They completely dropped the ball with Muse. Like there's no if ands or buts about that. They just
Mhm.
it missed opportunities across the board. But the stuff with Wilson Fisk was great. Like I there were times when I thought that it was going one way with his character and it went completely another way. They play not only on the comic book aspect of when he was mayor, but the fact that that comic book aspect also mirrors some real life stuff made it just gave it a little bit more gravity, which made it fun.
Mhm.
Um, and so yeah, I his scenes where Daredevil is or Matt Murdock is kind of talking with the court clerk and she's doing the negotiations and things like that. Like I like more of those aspects of Matt Murdock because again, it gave us the flirty womanizing version of him, but some of the scenes where the camera would shift to his vision whenever he's using the listening and things like that, and it would switch to that kind of letterbox format. I absolutely love that. When Bullseye's cocking his gun and he's listening out and you see everything zone in and start getting blurry, those are great things. So if they continue that and continue more seasons, I'm all for that. Number 4 for me is Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I am a huge fan of Anthony Mackie. I'm a huge fan of his Falcon. I am glad that he has gotten to take the route that he's gotten to go. I wish he could have done more with Brave New World, but I think this was a great one. And to your point about that suit was immaculate, and I wish they would have kept it because that white is just amazing. But yeah, it had great moments. Outside of the Sharon Carter stuff, I really enjoyed it. I loved when the Dora Milaje showed up. That was so fun for me. Just like that whole interaction, them and Zemo. Um, they had great stuff. I thought Carly was good as a villain and someone who, in today's day and age, you could see like this version of her as a villain, but yeah, you could also tell, okay, there were some rewrites and things with that. John Walker going absolutely crazy was a scene that's still like, oh, we did that in Marvel. That was before Daredevil. That was my first real big, oh, we're going there with something. And then just the
Mhm.
camaraderie and the back and forth between Anthony Mackie, Sam Wilson, and Sebastian Stan's Bucky Barnes, like the way that they played off of each other. Bucky with Sam's sister and having that moment and just him being down for the culture, like all those were just fun moments for me. And that ending speech when he is talking to the government officials and talking to the
Mhm.
cameras and laying that stuff out, I think some of that stuff is still applicable today. And again, it was a great thing. Had they made it into a movie or given it just like a lot more than I felt it was given, I would love it even more. But for what it was, yeah, no, it was definitely fun.
I wish they did more with Bucky and Sam's sister, but that never came back around again. So
Yeah, I would have liked a nod to that in Brave New World. Maybe even Bucky just asking how his sister was doing. Just that fun little callback. Um, Next up for me is WandaVision. Um, and I this is the one that I struggled with the most because it always sits in my top 3, and where it sits in my top 3 kind of fluctuates. But to me, this is a complete show. This is a start to finish. Everything about it is a it takes you on a ride. From the first time I saw it to even rewatching it, it's fun. Going through the errors is fun. When they first start breaking the fourth wall is fun. The final fight scene is fun. Like seeing Wanda just break as a character, like it added some more nuance to why she's doing this. Everything about that, I was just like, oh man, this is some good stuff. And so I loved Elizabeth Olsen in this. I love where they took the character, and then we got to see more of it later. Based upon the ending, we got to see her more in Doctor Strange, and they've also played on this in the Marvel Zombie stuff and some of the What If stuff of where this version of Scarlet Witch is. I hope that in the main continuity, she did survive and she's going to be reappearing as this version. But yeah, from start to finish, I thought that this was really fun, really good, and I very much enjoyed it. Number two, sitting right now, is X-Men 97. Again, this one has an asterisk because I wasn't sure, like we talked about, if this counted, but I mean, it is a Marvel Disney Plus thing, even though it's not listed as part of the phases. But man, it was just a great show. And I think as hopefully they continue the success of season one and continue to build upon that. But I find myself going back and looking at especially the Magneto moments and the speeches and just how
Absolutely.
good they were. The Don't Make Me Let You Down is still like that hits for me. The stuff with Storm and losing her powers. I mean, Scott just going off on the TV interview like he has just had enough of this. And then the Gambit and Rogue moment like that hit watching everything going on with Gambit. And it was just like, yeah, and then Rogue's crash out afterwards. Like she was ready to go toe to toe with Captain America. She's like, nah, I'm ready to fight whoever, wherever. I'm ready to throw hands. So that's it's at number two. I hope they continue from that. And my number one, by default, only thing left is Loki. Like I said, this is a culmination of seasons, and I felt from the start of Loki, it was fun. It was okay. We got the character back. They had some callbacks to the movies. They explained about the various timelines. We got the TVA, which is now gone on to be a huge part of things. We got Kang, even though he's not going to be used again. We got a great story with him. We had amazing moments. And then the way that the season ended with him taking control, him sitting in there, taking his throne, it was, yeah, from start to finish, I love Loki.
Nice. There we go. We got a lot of similarities coming up here. But I will say where we don't is in 5 and 4, because ones that are a bit lower for you. I got She-Hulk at 5 and Werewolf by Night at 4. She-Hulk, I absolutely loved. I think there's some episodes in the middle that might be a tad weaker, but I enjoyed. I just think it was really them taking some swings. I very much, because I know it was a controversial, not just the Kevin stuff, everything about the finale. I know there was like a big line of saying people not liking that or liking that. I loved everything they did, crashing Disney Plus and showing up there and literally like reworking the whole finale going on. It's like, oh, let's start over. You mentioned it earlier, but the Daredevil She-Hulk episode was phenomenal to the point where it's like, as much as I love Elektra, we're gonna talk about later, it made me be like, you know what? I want these two to actually be together. They just which is crazy for just an episode that's shorter than most Disney Plus thing. They had great stuff, and I was not someone that was bothered by anything they did comedically with Daredevil because they can do that. I think they had lots of fun one-liners. I like the connection with Hulk at the beginning, even though Hulk could have been used a little bit more. And yeah, Scargan add in there was weird, but no, I respect everything they did there, and it worked for me, the finale, and I really like Tatiana Maslany. Don't know if she's going to be coming back with her messages towards Disney, but you know what? That's okay. You had a good run as She-Hulk, and it's a character that I enjoyed, which I wasn't sure how it was going to go. So that, and then Werewolf by Night, this is to me what I want them to. There's things they can take from Doctor Strange and Multiverse of Madness, and obviously they're always going to want to have some comedy in there. But to me, when they are looking at this reset supposedly and after Secret Wars and what they want to do, to me they should really look at Werewolf by Night and be like, everything we're going to do with the Midnight Suns and kind of the dark supernatural side of Marvel, it should be this. It should be, you don't got to do Black Label, just know, hey, when you're in the supernatural side, the jokes are going to be 5 to 10% here, and that's why I love Werewolf by Night. It does not. It feels like there is some Marvel aesthetics and things going on, but it's not a per se that does not fit with Iron Man or Avengers, and it shouldn't. Right? It's Werewolf by Night. It's Man Thing. It's oh god, what's her first name? Oh, It's a Bloodstone, Elsa Bloodstone. Like it's all these characters that should feel different. So to me, if we get Blade, if we get Midnight Suns, and especially when we got this, for me, I was like, oh, this is what I wanted Moon Knight to be. This is a thing that I watch Werewolf by Night probably every Halloween because I really enjoy it. It's like a fun. We don't have any comic book stuff in the Halloween sphere, so I really, really enjoyed it. And going black and white, that was tons of fun stuff, practical effects. So, but then yes, my top three is the exact same as yours. I got WandaVision at 3, X-Men 97 at 2, and Loki number 1. WandaVision, I think, is pretty perfect until the finale. I think the finale, I won't say sucks, but is so much weaker compared to the other 5 episodes. The stuff going on with Shield, some of the ending stuff, the reveals with Agatha. I think the fights is not that kind of like it doesn't feel. It's not a satisfying conclusion with Agatha in that sense. So I think it kind of peters off there. And plus, I know Brent used to bug me about this all the time. I don't care. I know there's people meme on it and joke with a joke. To me, Ralph Bohner, one of the worst things the MCU's ever done. And I not say it just because like I love Evan Peters, Quicksilver, and one in the back. I just feel all time when I see lists or I hear other people that aren't even big MCU fans talk about, and always when that comes up, it's to me, MCU had things that people did not like before in the phase 3, but I don't think there was anything super cringeworthy that like, oh, they did that I think other franchises have, like the DCEU, the Fox X-Men. To me, Ralph Bohner was their first like it was just a dick joke, and to me it's like the worst thing that people, which I think sometimes it's warm, but I think a lot of the times when people throw the remarks, the bad remarks of Marvel and the humor and stuff, for most of them I disagree. And this to me was like, oh, you're just going for the joke. And I think it was, especially too, because this was coined the Multiverse saga, right? So I think they kind of played with fire when it was Evan Peters playing Quicksilver and your interest and stuff. So I think I blame that completely on them for the setup of it. But overall, that show was such a fun mystery box weekly. What's going on? All the different eras. That was really Elizabeth Olsen's coming out party because she's a phenomenal actress, but she didn't get to do much in the movies. This was the time where you got to see her, and I think that's where fans really built up. 97, I almost had number 1. It's tough. The only thing I didn't is I agree when Brent and Chris were reviewing it, where I think it just, because it's animated, it just tended sometimes to move a little fast. Like when we did all of the Madeline Pryor storyline in like 2 episodes, and it was resolved very quickly. Magneto joining the X-Men and then not being with the X-Men again very quickly when we had 5 seasons of him against the X-Men. It's like, oh, this is fun. Finally, he's with the X-Men. I get it. The Genosha massacre was massive, right? But still, it's like, oh, he's already a bad guy again. So I think there's a couple storylines that progressed way too fast because it is animation. Same thing. I don't think we really got to dive fully deep into Cyclops, Madeline Pryor, Jean Grey, that affair, even Wolverine. I remember they did a moment where it looked like Jean Grey, who got back Mindway, was almost falling for Logan, and they never delved deep in that. And that's where, again, maybe season 2, we'll see. But I'm not, because who knows what really happened with Beau DeMayo and everything. I just worry more for season 2 and 3 because it's kind of just a big kind of I worry what it could be like with Daredevil, where it could be 2 visions clashing, where we're going to keep some of Beau's stuff and we're going to do some of our stuff, and it's just not going to work. So I'm happy with 97. I think it is a fantastic season. There's tons of great stuff in there. The Gambit, Genosha, remember the name on me. That's one of the finest, like the Doctor Strange episode. That's one of the best things that have ever come out of the MCU was that. I think it's episode 5, X-Men 97. It's 5 or 6, and that episode, not just the ending in general, is fantastic. And then you spoke highly of it. Loki number 1. That to me wasn't much of a doubt, even though 97 was great. I loved the Kang stuff. It sucked where it ended up going, but I think Loki, that was the one where I was fine with. We'd seen multiple times Loki almost become a hero, and this was seeing the full kind of hero arc and becoming villain to a hero. Love episode 1 when he sees his whole life flash before his eyes and how it really results to him just getting choked out. Him falling in love with himself, I was all for, all the way to the end when he's becomes the master, the god of stories and all that stuff. And that was great. And I don't think we needed season 3. I'm very excited to see what they do with Loki in Doomsday and Secret Wars, because next to Cap, Loki's my favorite character in the MCU, and I think Tom Hiddleston. I always wanted more Tom Hiddleston. I was always wanting a movie, so to me, Loki season 1 and 2. I still put Loki season 1 over 2, but I still love them both, and yeah, it's a fantastic show.
Yeah, I will agree. Season one beats out season two for me. Once they get to the end of the TVA and things like that, and then once Sophie, once she makes a stabbing, I'm like, that to me, I'm like, where do we go from here? Like, that was such a huge moment. When season two ended, I was like, okay, great moment for Loki. He's sitting upon his throne, he's having his moment. Awesome. If we never saw him again, I felt like he had a great ending to his
Yeah.
story. The fact that we will see him again makes me happy because, yeah, outside of, they talk about Cap, Iron Man, and Thor being the big three. Like, you could, for my entertainment, you could take out Thor and put in Loki, and I would say those are my most captivating characters. Like, those are, if you were
Oh
telling
yeah,
me
for Cap.
the
Yeah,
the
I
three
think
to
yeah, I agree.
the
With
three to
captivation.
follow, yeah, those are them. Because man, Tom Hiddleston has been killing it since he appeared on screen. Even in the god awful second Thor movie, he was still fun.
Yeah, he
Like
was the
it,
best part. Yeah.
he made that movie his quote unquote sacrifice then and everything else. Like, he was amazing. So yeah, Loki just it sits up there. It's earned its place, and I'm glad that we're going to get more Tom Hiddleston. But those are great, and
Yeah.
for
No,
what we
I'm
got of Kang, thank you.
Yeah, it was a fantastic portrayal. It sucks it didn't go more, but I agree with you as far as this for multiple lists for captivating characters. I even think for importance of the MCU for the Mount Rushmore, I could argue of Cap, Tony. I put Spider-Man, and then I put Loki because Loki has. I know it's just a show, but he was the villain, multi stories all throughout, and I just feel like he's a bigger fan base too. But obviously Thor, very successful character. But yeah, I think Loki's very vital. I think there's a reason they've killed that character off so many times that find a way to bring it back because it's like Loki's pretty great, like and hopefully Tom Hiddleston. I think this might be the I don't know. I for a while thought it could be the last outing, but I'm not as I don't think that way anymore because I think they want to keep whoever they can. So the same way I've said before that I think Chris Hemsworth is sticking around the MCU after Secret Wars. I think there's still a path for Loki to also stick around in the MCU because I think they don't want to give up sure bets anymore. We saw what happened with the box office this year, right? And how
Yeah.
many people didn't like Thor: Love and Thunder, which I understand lots of the critiques still made almost 800 million. So I think they're in a time where I think at one point they're like, yeah, let's recast everybody, let's start over, let's get in our new characters. Where now it's like, oh, Chris, you want to stay? Great. Tom, you want to stay? We will find a story for you. We're not going to worry about ending things off right now
Yeah.
until we get better. So, and I'm always down for more Tom Hiddleston. So
Yeah, we're no longer in the point where the Marvel logo is the selling piece. We are now back to characters of familiarity. So if
yes,
you got this familiarity, if you got this, okay. Some
and
people
pairing up
don't.
those characters like Wolverine
Yeah,
and Deadpool or No Way Home, like oh, we like a band kind of per se, right? Like an
yeah.
actor with an IP, not just an actor selling a
It's
movie.
like
So.
it's great to have new characters. It's great to have new vehicles. But when someone goes, "Hey, you are getting this character, and they're teaming up with this character, and we're introducing this third character," then people are more like, "Okay, well, I know those two, and I love
Yes,
those
yeah.
two, and I'd love to see them together." And then, yeah, cool. Introduce me the third, and we can run from there.
Yeah.
So cool. I'm glad to see that our lists, other than a couple here and there, they weren't
Yeah, we had a couple of
too
spaced
far
out, but
off.
lots of similarities going on. So that was fun.
Yeah.
It's good to look back at because now we don't. Sounds like we got Wonder Man obviously later on this year, but it sounds like going forward we're gonna for live action stuff only kind of get one show a year for Stars and Marvel. So kind of obviously can add to the list, but I don't think it'll be as big in the future. So
Yeah, they're definitely going to slow down on the production, which might be a good thing right now. Focus on just putting out good quality product. Again, I know Brent said it, Chris said it. I agree. I'd rather you put out good product slowly, take your time, put out something amazing than just to rush stuff out the cookie cutter factory.
yeah, absolutely.
So Awesome. So with that, we will take our second ad break of the evening. Again, listeners, we don't control the volume, so we'll give you a 3 count to get used to that. In 3, 2, 1. All right. So the first semi-news item is the Russos out here doing it again, which
Yeah.
I wasn't expecting anything. So they released another cryptic image on their social medias, and they're asking people, like, hey, what do you look hard is what they said with that. And they did this before. This is how they kind of got us out here with the whole in-game thing and people guessing the titles, but now we have this new one. And so it's really hard to see it. Again, it's another black and white still one
Hmm.
of Joe Russo just sitting around. But
Yeah.
any thoughts of what this could be hearkening to, or what they're trying to say with this? I have a thought that immediately popped to mind the first time I've seen this. I've seen so many different thoughts, but what are yours?
I think I agree with people that it's the silly Avengers versus X-Men, with that being the A, and then there's the V, and then the X. This for me is a case of I would just be quiet until you start dropping real stuff, because there's that chalkboard, because I just don't feel like because to me, the people that see this photo are you and me and the people online that would listen to this podcast and other podcasts. Like, we're the people who go, oh, Avengers versus X-Men. And I think we all have an idea that at some point the Avengers are going to fight the X-Men. So I don't think it's like a big, like, oh my goodness. Like, it'd be different if we didn't know the X-Men were in this and it still was rumors, but
Yeah.
we know they're there. So I know a couple weeks they like posted that other photo that was like scrudged up, and it was like people figured out might be Reed Richards' board. But I just, these, so far, this like cryptid viral marketing isn't doing much for me. I'm excited that we've heard rumblings that we're gonna get some sort of teaser with Avatar 3, which thank God, because I'm not looking forward to Avatar 3, but I'll happily sit there and watch that teaser. But so I'll be excited once they can start showing some real goodies. So, I guess I think this is just like a reminder of like, hey, we're there. And Avengers versus X-Men, I don't know, kind of no duh. Because even in the first Avengers, you had multiple Avengers fight each other. Captain America and Iron Man and Thor had a triple threat. Thor and Hulk fought each other. Black Widow and Hawkeye fought each other. Like, that's what you do in Age of Ultron. Like, every single Avengers movie, heroes have fought each other because of a
Yeah.
miscommunication. So the fact that, oh, you're telling me two hero teams from different universes are going to miscommunicate, no. And I guess because I just don't think that's like the main crux of the movie, right? I think that's a portion, but I don't think it's the final battle is X-Men and or the X-Men and Avengers fighting to the death. It's like, well, Doom's going to be revealed to be behind it all, and then they fight him, right? So, but yeah, you got anything other theories other than the AVX?
Yeah, no, that's same that I had was the
Yeah.
AVX. I mean, it's the positioning of it. It just seems like, all right, this is a dead giveaway. In my mind, this is going to be a situation where, people are brought from different worlds to save theirs. They're going to start as adversaries and then realize, you know what? Why are we letting this asshole like pit us against each other? Let's then team up and take down Doom. And I think it's pretty clear cut there. But yeah, the black and white, where we're not really showing you something, but we're gonna let the internet speculate. I mean, it worked the first time. It was fun for people to figure out the everything with in game, but at this point, it's like just wait until you have something viable to show.
Yeah. Which hopefully, should be soon. But again, the movie's still over, like really over a year away. It's December. So they got lots of time. They got Avatar, they got Comic-Con, they got D23, lots of time. So I'm not
Yeah.
not worried.
Now
So.
the rumor, and reason I didn't put in the show notes because no one of the top tier scoopers has confirmed this, but the rumor is that it might be some sort of teaser attached to Avatar. I have not been, I self admitted, I'm not a huge Avatar fan. I watched the first one.
I don't know many
This-
of them, but they keep making the money. So
Yes, the
whatever,
sec-
good for them. Yeah.
I got partially through the second one. It just felt very convoluted to me, and I was just like, this isn't for me. If this draws people to go watch it, you know what? I have a list. I will go get a ticket as one of my 4 tickets of the week. Go watch the teaser and then bounce out and go see something
Mhm.
else. So
And it's also just smart because, like, no matter what, we all know, like, Avatar will make money. Who knows if it makes as much? Because, like, again, very impressive streak. Avatar, the first one, first biggest movie of all time. Avatar two, third biggest movie of all time. That no matter what, I don't know if Avatar 3 is going to get up to those numbers, but if you tell me it is, yeah, I could believe it because people like this world. But it just makes smart business sense to put that there because there's a bunch of people that don't know Avengers is out. What like that? That it's just like even if it's just 30 seconds, it's you gotta have it there. So I think it's a smart business move to put anything Avengers beside Avatar. So
yeah, and the Avengers name itself is it's going to spark the casuals to come back.
yes, yeah,
Whereas some of your other properties, yes, your Fantastic Fours and things like that, most people know that it's Marvel, but they're not thinking about that. But when you're thinking Avengers, you're like, okay, I remember those and I like those big team up movies. Those are fun. So you may not be interested in a new character, but seeing the big Avengers thing, seeing Doomsday on there, and even if it is just the teaser is just a shot of Robert Downey Jr. as Doom, it's going to make
yeah,
people want to see it.
yeah.
So glad we are kind of on the same page with the cryptic set photo. Next up in the news is Elektra possibly being set to return. According to a report from Daniel RPK on Patreon via Cosmic Marvel, Elektra is going to return in Daredevil Born Again. It's unknown if the character will be featured in season 2 or season 3. But it is a thing. Last we saw Elektra, she was being buried alive with Matt Murdock in Midland Circle. So obviously Matt's alive and well. So how we get Elektra, what they do with her, I don't know. Where do you see Elektra fitting in with this new version and where they're going? Or do you see
Yeah,
them even really bringing her back?
yeah, I think they will. I think that's a key thing to that character. I think which I think most people do, but I know if there's some people that don't love Electric character exactly in that show because it maybe takes some liberties with the characters from the comic. I was fine with most of those. I think people can agree that LD Young does a good job, and I think they had good chemistry, and she's always a good foil. I think obviously we've heard and seen some set photos of what they might be doing with Daredevil season 2, so I think there's just certain aspects and good thing is no set photos like have her, so I'm not trying to not hit on that. Nothing's been elected there. It's just kind of iconography and some storylines where we go, oh, she could easily tie into what's going on here. So yeah, I think it's gonna happen, and I think it's either gonna be I think it's gonna be the back half of season 2, or it's going to be she will return in season 2, but it's like to set up season 3 and going forward and stuff. And because like if we already got we had Karen Foggy come back, which at some point they weren't. We got Frank back. We're getting Jessica Jones back this year. I'm pretty sure we're gonna get Mike Coulter back as well. I'm not sure about Iron Fist, but the fact that we're getting like if we're getting Jessica Jones back, I get she had her own show, but still she was not in other than when they did Defender, she was never ever even in Daredevil, right? She had her own thing going on. So if we're getting characters coming back that weren't even in his show, I think the characters that were in his show will come back. Also, yeah, we got Fisk as well. So yeah, I think it's just kind of a matter of time. So I think if she's not even back in season 2, it'll at least be alluded to. But I think they will kind of lay the groundwork for her return, and I'll be excited to see what they get up to with these two because they're always it's always a fun dynamic.
Yeah, I agree that I could see her coming in towards the end of season 2. I would like to see her come in after, if they are including everything that happened with Midland Circle, have her come in with the amnesia, not knowing who Matt is, not having that bond to begin with, and them just be straight up adversaries. And I think watching the fight scenes between them two would be just monumental.
Yeah.
Because they have great chemistry as a couple. They have great chemistry with their fights, their movements in the Netflix series were amazing. And so, yeah, and just Elektra is so caught in the lore of Daredevil. Like, you're not going to have Black Widow come in, so at least have Elektra. If you're bringing this in full stop, at least have the interactions with Elektra.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree.
So, yeah, I'm excited to see. Hope it happens. Hope it carries into season 3.
Mm-hmm.
and I would also love some moments with her and Frank as well.
Oh,
Because
absolutely. Yeah, we never got
I,
to see that. Yeah, and Frank with
yeah,
anybody is fun, So I hope that Frank does come back, and obviously it's gonna be we're very spoiled. We're getting Frank interacting with the Hulk and Spider-Man next year, so it's a good time to be a Punisher fan. So
yeah, he's getting his shine, and I am here for it. So,
yeah,
those are our news stories. So again, not a lot this week, but
yeah.
some fun stuff. Again, Russo brothers just having to drop that teaser.
Hmm.
So, uh, we are going to take our third and final ad break of the evening. Give you 3 count and 3, 2, 1. And we're back. So we had no feedback or listener questions this week. That is fine. I know it's kind of a strange week. We didn't get the post out there, the reminders. That's on us. I will try, especially when I know Chris is out, to
It's
get
my
those
fault.
up and running. But we will have that opportunity. So again, reach out to us on all the socials. You can reach out to us on the main Twitter. You can reach out to me individually, Chris, or anyone else from the network with any of your questions, and we will get them added to the show for next time. With that, let's move into Fact or Fiction. So I have last week's Fact or Fictions here. So Fact or Fiction number 1, we will get Wanda reference as Queen of the Dead again. That was 64% fact, 36% fiction. Travis, what say you?
Yeah, I voted fact because I feel like there's something where if that character comes back or is talked about in Doomsday, they'll list off like all her titles, like Wanda Maximoff, the daughter of Magneto, the Scarlet Witch, the Queen of the Dead. So I feel like it could just be something as simple as that too. So
Yeah, the rundown of, do you know who I am? Here's
exactly,
here's my resume in short form.
yeah.
Fact or fiction number 2, Marvel Zombies will be a yearly Halloween special. 86% say fact, 14% say fiction.
The only reason I said fiction is I think that, especially, and we heard rumors this week that it did better numbers than they expected, so that's great, and hopefully we can get more because it did kind of leave some things open ended. I just don't think it will be yearly. I think it could be almost bi-yearly unless it's literally just a hour long special or something. Just because, like, even speaking of Wanda, Elizabeth Olsen revealed that she recorded these years ago, right? And even then, the one of the
During
producers,
COVID.
yeah, and one of the producers said that they were going to release this last year, but they held on to it. So that's where I went fiction on the yearly thing. I could see it being bi-yearly, but we never know with animation. But I think we might get more, but I think we still got to wait a little bit and see how everything falls out after Secret Wars, Doomsday, Bob Iger leaving, because people probably don't think it's a big deal, but it will be, right? Because there'll be someone else that's new reporting to Kevin Feige reporting them. So it's like there's a lot of changes happening in the next 2 to 3 years. Where it's just that's where it's tough for me with WB, with DC, with Marvel, with Disney, with all these powers just going on. It's tough to kind of know where we're gonna be in 5 years. So that's why I said fiction.
Yeah, no, I could see that. I'm hoping they do it. I think that it would be, if they're having to move stuff, adjust stuff, or delay, especially their live action stuff, you always experience a lot of delays with that. This would be something that would be just a little bit easier to crank out to fill a void if something has to be pushed back.
Yeah.
Fact or fiction number 3, there will be a reference to Sony Spider-Man in Sony's new Wolverine game. We have 83% fact, 17% fiction.
Yeah, no, I think so. I think it's just a reference. I don't think if we do see him, it's literally just like on a billboard, something like that. I don't think we get an actual cameo. As much as I would love it, but I think there's definitely going to be some reference because they are in the same universe. So
Cool. All right, so those are the 3. And what do you have lined
okay.
up for us this week?
All right, so I'm throwing this out early enough because I heard it was a teaser, and just in case I never get back on. So if we get this teaser of Doomsday, obviously that's when we're gonna start first looks at Doomsday and things, and that's when we get to really get that official, like, okay, how are we feeling, right? Because they could put out a teaser, and if it looks bad right away, we go, okay, that's maybe some bad signs for them. So I'm gonna ask the question, and this is gonna be long term. This is not gonna pay off till 2027, 2028. But I like throwing this stuff out now before we see market. Because once we see marketing, someone cuts a great trailer, they go, oh yeah, of course that looks great. But it's like, so what I'm going to say is Secret Wars and Doomsday. I'm asking if it's fact or fiction. Secret Wars and Doomsday will make $4 billion at the box office combined. To put that in perspective, the last two, Infinity War and Endgame, made about 4.8. I'm rounding up because Infinity War made like almost 2.1, and then Endgame almost made 2.8. So I'm saying it'll make 4 billion. So I'm giving it that cushion of it could be missing a whole like 800 million, 800 to 900 million per se. But that's what I'm saying. Will these things, a piece make 2 billion? Will one, maybe just Avengers make Doomsday make 1 billion, and then Secret Wars is a lot of heavy lifting? What say you? Do you think they could make 4 billion combined?
Since it's combined, I'm going to go ahead and say fact. I
Okay.
don't think Doomsday will make it. I think Doomsday will be close to splitting it. And then I think Secret Wars will pick up the slack. I think Doomsday will be a litmus test for people of, do I want to jump back into Marvel as a whole? So as the
Yeah.
word of mouth spreads, I think it will go. And then some people, of course, are going to wait for streaming, knowing that it's coming to Disney Plus now, that we're in that time, in that era. But I think that Doomsday will be just under the 2 mark. And then the slack will be picking up by Secret Wars after people go, okay, this is a big thing. And now that I've seen this, now that I know that I have to see part 2 because this continues, I need to go ahead and watch this. So I'll say fact on that.
Yes, yeah. This one's it's interesting for me because I looked up in the 2010s, because obviously COVID, streaming, pacing, all that stuff. Where the only movies that have done 2 billion this time frame are, we just talked about Avatar 2, which did 2.2, and I'm talking just North American films. The next close to that was Spider-Man: No Way Home at 1.9 billion, so almost made $2 billion. So I think I'm gonna say. And that's what I want to do now. I think I'm going to say fiction, but it all depends on the quality of Doomsday. Because if Doomsday can end, I don't think I'm with you no matter. I'm of two minds. I'm with you no matter what. I don't think that Doomsday will be bigger than Infinity War by itself singularly, but it could have a greater impact to help Secret Wars. And I also don't think that either of these films are not making $1 billion. I know we're in a different time period and everything, but I think both will make them. Now it's just a question of what happens. If Doomsday, I think, is kind of all right. If it's like even Age of Ultron level, I think it won't and I think that's still like fine, but I don't think it's going to make that, oh man, I got to see the next one. So that could hurt Doomsday and the same, or Secret Wars. And I've said this before too, where if both Doomsday and Secret Wars are iffy, I still think they're going to make $1 billion, make a lot of money. But if they're both iffy, I think that'll hurt Marvel after the fact. I always say, kind of like Rise of Skywalker and Last Jedi, however you feel with those films, obviously they very much divided the fan bases, right? To the point where Star Wars has been scared to put out a movie in the theaters. It's coming out next year, so 7 years. Rise of Skywalker made $1 billion. It should not take 7 years to make another Star Wars movie, but they were just scared, right? The difference is I don't think Marvel will be scared. I think they'll just push out a movie, but that's where I think if those movies are iffy, stuff like X-Men, people might go, you know what? I'm gonna bow out this time, but I'm gonna say fiction. I think it might be. I think 3.5 is like guaranteed, but I think if Doomsday can really hit, then I feel better about it. Because that thing when No Way Home came out, almost made $2 billion because that movie hit. It also didn't have China, but that just hit very, very well, right? And so far, and same thing, people could argue wouldn't the same amount, but it has some detractors. But I think Deadpool and Wolverine was a big hit overall, very well. So. I think with their multiverse stuff, they're doing a good job, but Doomsday seems like a whole other thing. But I'm going to say fiction for now, but it'll be close. I'm like a 3.7. Like, that's where I am right now, but we never know.
Yeah.
So.
I think I'm just looked it up, Deadpool and Wolverine making 1.3 worldwide.
Yeah,
and that's in 2024, and that's in, again, a time when some people were sick of Ryan Reynolds at the time.
Yeah.
Some people were like, I don't want to see this anymore. Like,
weren't that sick of Ryan Reynolds though.
Yeah.
At one point, like, people say that, but it's like, I'm not sick of Hugh
But
Jackman.
you had a fall off. Of course, this is also during the go woke, go broke. We hate Disney time. So for it to still make 1.3 in 2024, like that's
Yes.
saying something to me.
Yeah. It
Doctor
shows that
Strange in the
people,
Multiverse of Madness was like that's not a touted movie, and that came out
yeah.
in 22, and that made
It almost made a billion. It was close to
yeah,
a billion. Yeah.
that made just under. That was 950. So like
Yeah.
that again, that's big
And
right there.
the th-
Wakanda Forever made just
yeah.
under 900.
And
So
that's not even multiverse stuff. And to go against my point as far as why it could make like close to Infinity War money is even with Deadpool Wolverine, that was based off of we got Hugh Jackman back and we got these two paired up. They didn't even show the big cameos, right? With Elektra and Blade and Channing Tatum. We know Doomsday and Secret Wars are going to be showing both those. Like I've always said this, like I'm always making the safe thing of saying Secret Wars is $1 billion movie. I still feel pretty safe that's $2 billion. I've always said this as far as if you can have a poster with Hugh Jackman and Tobey Maguire side by side, I think that's $2 billion right there. And then if you got Downey and Evans on there too, you're rolling in it, right? Again,
yeah.
it's after the fact of if that movie doesn't hit and it's not good, then you have to deal with the ramifications of making a myth movie. But I think people want to see that. So we'll see. But as far as talking about seeing things, this goes back to our Disney Plus rankings and talking about what we will and won't see. So I'm asking, we won't get a Young Avengers slash Champions live action project of any sort within the next 5 years. Because also we've talked about like what I just talked about Thor. Like it seems like Marvel, it just seems like they're gonna pivot to slower production. So a couple movies a year, maybe just one show a year, and I feel like they're going to be very picky and choosy. And as much as I love those characters and I actually want to see them back, I feel like there's a chance we, as of just now, might have missed the boat on that happening. I think that was happening at a time where it's like content. We'll get a new team, and I think it's just because like Ironheart, we didn't hear about great numbers. Miss Marvel was a part of the Marvels, which was their second lowest movie, or was I can't remember. Was it low? It was lowest, right? It replaced the Hulk, I think. Right? Is the lowest Marvel movie all time? Yeah.
The Marvels made just under 200.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Exactly. So it's the lowest all time. So I think that's my thing as far as it's a double of, and the same way I always said this, and I feel like I'm right. They've never announced it, but when they announced War Machine, I said, you know what? I don't think this is a good idea because I say this about a lot of characters. Not every spin-off character needs a solo project. Some characters are just great being on a team, and I'm saying fact for this one that I think we might have just missed the boat on Young Avengers. We might see those characters again, but I mean the team as them being champions, Young Avengers. It's like, what's going to happen by the time we get there? Haley Steinfeld's going to be 40, and it's like, there's no Young Avenger anymore. It's she's just an Avenger at that point. So that's what I'm saying fact as far as just a project name, Young Avengers or Champion live action, we won't get in the next 5 years.
To that question, are we only talking live action or just because that will sway me? Because I think that
Yeah, just
we
live
could,
action. So there'd
okay,
be no
I was about to
movie
say,
or show. That's what I'm saying. That's live action. Animated, sure, but I'm saying live action because I feel like that's a bigger budget and that's more risky for them, right? So
live action, I am going to say fact. I think that as time progressed, I slowly felt like, all right, we're not getting a movie. We're not getting a show. We may get a special presentation. Now I don't even think we'll get that.
yeah.
I
No,
think
I think the Marvel killed the chances of a movie, unfortunately. I think that the Marvels, like, I just think that they worry that those characters aren't bankable unless they found a way to get Spider-Man to be a Young Avenger, but I don't think they'd ever do that. I think they're happy with being the Avengers. So I don't think
Yeah.
it's possible,
I think only way that they would be able to make a movie out of that is if they were to get the rights to Miles Morales.
I
think
agree.
that
Yep.
that would be something that would make people tune in. This is your chance. We're not going to introduce him in a Spider-Man movie. If you want to see Miles Morales, this is the vehicle for it. And then that will drive people to see it. Outside of that, yeah, at this point, no one is going to see this movie. It's going to end up like the Marvels. It's going to end up like some others where,
Yeah.
like Thunderbolts had a great ensemble cast, but it's not something that people are just clamoring to see. And this would fall into the same route.
Yeah, no, to me, unless you got like a Miles, and even if you find a way to get like X-23 in there, and that's also the problem. If we're getting X-Men, I'm assuming we're getting a lot of young X-Men or characters and whatnot, right? So it kind of fills that void of, oh, we're gonna hit the young crowd. It's like, well, so I just think we might have missed a chance, just like with War Machine, and just like, unfortunate Blade. I don't know, and that leads to my next fact or fiction. Obviously, last week we got Blade, not voiced by Mahershala Ali, but sound like him, look like him. Everyone really loved the episode, wanting more. I'm asking, do we see Mahershala Ali, in person in Avengers Secret Wars? I'm not saying it's be a main character, not anything like that. I'm just saying, will we see him in new footage in Avengers Secret Wars?
To quote a famous actor, there's only ever been one Blade. There only ever will be. I think they have missed the mark on it, and I don't think we will. I
Okay.
think that they're going to keep stalling, and I think Mahershala Ali is going to move on to other projects. And as much as he wants to, you can't keep putting yourself on hold for the Marvel's finally going to pull the trigger on this, especially when you have other big projects. I mean, he's an amazing actor. People want him in big things. So at some point, you're going to have to say, hey, I need to go over here. I need to keep making my Moonlights. I need to keep making my other films. I need to go explore these other options because you guys are just sitting on this.
Mine's going to be completely faith-based. I'm going to say fact. I don't know what's really going to happen. My hope is that they go, hey, in phase 7 or whatever they call it, we're really serious about Blade, and let's get you in there to, whether it's pass the torch from Wesley to you, give you a big moment, just get people hyped and excited. Something like those characters in Multiverse of Madness, something like the characters in Deadpool Wolverine. I'm going to say fact. Even though I feel very flimsy about it, I want them to do it, because then I feel like if we ever see them, then it's like, okay, we're getting serious. To the point, are they serious? That we don't know, but I'll say fact, but I don't feel strong about it. So, we'll see what happens, and we'll see what the people think next week about these fact or fictions. So,
All right. Those are our Fact or Fictions. As always, they will go live on the X feed on Sunday. So get out there, vote, choose your adventure with that. Those are some interesting ones, and some long-term booking to
Yes,
steal a
exactly.
wrestling term. So that should be fun. As far as comic book club, we are going to hold off till next week. I was going to make Mr. Travis Snell dive into Spider-Man Life Story #2, although it's great, but we will come back and we will rejoin
Chris.
comic book club next week when Chris is back. So that's it for us. I like to again thank our sponsor, Panelbound Comics. Go visit them. Use our code at checkout, Marvel GUA. Get some off your order. Go pick up something for the collection. Mr. Snell, tell the people how they can follow you.
Yeah, Travis B. Snell. You can find me at Geek First. We're always talking stuff. Me and David got a GM mode stream this weekend, so look out for that on Sunday. But yeah, we're talking Marvel, DC, Star Wars stuff, and then most importantly, November 8th, we got Extra Life charity stream. We do that every November. Gonna be going 24 hours, trying to raise funds for BC Children's Hospital, and just, as always, doing some shenanigans. We stay up for full 24 hours. All the links are live. There's going to be more stuff, announcements, stuff throughout the weeks, because we got until November 8th. So it's still over a month. But yeah, if you want to donate, help some kids out, or just come watch, that'd be helpful. And this was fun. Glad to be on air. Glad to finally do a Marvel Alliance episode, just you and me, sir. So it was a good time. And I hope Chris is enjoying his trip, and like I said, Chris, to put me back in the notes, a thank you to me next time. But this is good, and I hope it's been good to be back on Marvel Alliance here for a second, and I hope everyone that listens to the show is doing well out there. So
Awesome. You guys can follow me on all social medias at The Phantom. Like Mr. Snell said, this weekend we will be doing my GM WWE 2K25 play through us in S-Bubs. It's fun. I'm still working my way up, trying to make something. I'm inching closer. Inching closer. Now, I will admit my style of play is throw it against the wall and see what sticks.
is, yes.
I love the
Rip and rip it.
chaos.
Yes.
Like I could follow a path. I could follow the let's do this, let's do that. But sometimes it's just fun to be chaos and let my show be chaos. I am
Yes.
ECW
You're
in the
ECW for
90s and
sure.
2000s.
yeah,
So
pushing that local talent time. So no, it's a fun time. So check it out.
Exactly. You can email the show at marvelalliancepodcast@gmail.com. You can follow the Geek Ultimate Alliance Network on Twitter at GUA Pod Network. Feel free to tweet or email if you want to provide feedback or ask questions for us to answer on the show. Again, rate and review us on your podcatcher of choice, whether it be Apple, Spotify, or wherever you go. Now, Chris normally ends with saying, as Stan the Man would say, Excelsior True Believers, but I'm going to switch it up and say, in the words of Magneto, don't make me let you down. Have a good evening. All right, post credits discussion. So there was a set photo that has leaked recently and video. Miss Now, don't know if you saw it. If not, I can send it to you.
Yeah, I've seen a
But
bit of it. Yeah,
it
some other
is
stuff.
of Spider-Man riding on the hood of a black tactical van driven by the Punisher. And it reminded me so much of Spider-Man the Animated Series.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, with that being said, which comic book show or panel between the two of them would you like recreated in this movie?
I think there's two. One is like a cheat because everyone talked about it when it happened, but I still want it as far as there's that panel, and it's literally after Spider-Man's fought the Hulk, I believe, that he's holding Spider-Man, he's all beaten and broken. I would like something to that extent because I think that they obviously, I feel like Punisher and Spider-Man are going to be very at opposed ends, but you still got to find some connection there and some sort of bond per se. So I think there's something where obviously Frank and them are going to go about things in different ways, but Frank is to me going to still respect Spider-Man and understand the way he's going. Unless Spider-Man is in a very darker place, maybe he's just with Frank and they then eventually decides, oh no, I shouldn't be doing this. But I think him being broken is one. And then just because it's been burned in my mind for decades, I want the opening credits when Spider-Man webs his wrist and when Punisher like smacks and then shoots the gun. I literally want that almost like frame for frame to happen. So that'd be a fun little callback. I'm with people that I wish he'd get the white gloves and a bit more of that stuff. I don't think that's happening yet, but that's my 2-1 is yes, the Spider-Man broken and beaten, and then the thwip into the hit off to the shot because it just looks like it's just the biggest Punisher like F you, like don't shoot me with this stuff, so those would be the two. So but yeah, it's exciting that we're seeing all this stuff and we're just under a year away, so hopefully it all pans out, so
Yeah. I really want, everyone says they want some version of Spider-Man and Punisher's scope, reminiscent of the cover. That's great. But I want Punisher carrying Spider-Man with the get me a medic now, like after Spider-Man's just been beat. I know this happens in Civil War, so he's got the Stark suit on at this point, but if we could just get like some version of, as badass as Punisher is, he's also a very parental figure. Like he thinks in those ways. So if you see this kid has just been beat to heck by whatever means, whether it be the Sinister Six or someone else within there, and just Punisher then switching up and realizing this is just a kid and trying to do everything he can. Like I want that image of that.
yeah, I agree.
So, all right, cool. So that is it for Marvel Alliance episode 274. Again, we thank you all. Follow us and everything, and we will talk to you all later. Mr. Snell, thank you so much for joining me, and we will see you all next week.
Have a good one.
See ya.